Hi, everyone. Welcome to our panel. I think it's the best panel of the day.
Oh, for sure.
For sure.
Well, we haven't made any mistakes yet.
Exactly. I'm Melina Sag. I'm your host today. It's a pleasure. Quickly about me, I'm the co-founder of ConnectedFuture. We are a smart product company on chain. We turn premium goods into digital assets. And it's a whole new way to own, trace, and engage with your products. We are powered by Concordium blockchain. So if you want to know a bit more, then come and speak to me afterwards. Today we have 4 fantastic speakers with us. And we're going to explore strategies around loyalty, community, branding, and user engagement in general. And so our first guest is Jordi Mompart. I will start with you. Since September 2021, Jordi has led the FC Barcelona AI and blockchain strategy and projects. And before joining football, he was a physics professor, heading national and international research in quantum technologies. He has published around 100 scientific papers, authored a book on applied quantum mechanics, and he holds 3 patents and lectures worldwide. Welcome, Jordi. Next, we have Sebastien. Sebastien is a serial entrepreneur with multiple exits, globally recognized for his leadership in gaming and Web3 innovation. He's the co-founder of the Sandbox, a leading virtual world with over 8,400,000 brand collaborations. That's quite a number. Congratulations. Empowering players to create, own, and monetize experiences through NFTs and the Sand token. And currently, he serves as the ambassador of Sandchain, a new ZK-powered blockchain built as the financial backbone of the creator economy, powered by the Sand token. Maybe you can tell us more about that later. Welcome, Sebastien.
Thank you.
We also have Robby. Hi, Robby. He's the CEO of investment at Animoca Brands, a leader in Web3 entertainment, media, and services, and he's also the CEO of the Sandbox. In gaming since 2012 and in blockchain since 2018, he has a deep experience across TMT industries, from early web, mobile, television, magazines, and free-to-play games. He also co-founded One Media Group and Redgate Media in the past, and began his career about 30 years ago building wireless networks in China and Indonesia with Mitra Media. Welcome, Robby. And then last but not least, we have Diego. Diego has 20 years experience in branding and marketing and 8 in blockchain. He has reached millions and millions of people through his content. And he helps tech founders go mainstream today by turning complexity into clarity, which is something we all need. He advised Adidas, Porsche, Salesforce, MasterCard, and others Fortune 500. And today he guides Web3 leaders like Peace Network and Aptos to build trust and scale in the mainstream. Welcome, Diego.
Thank you.
Let's go straight into our topic and our first question, which is about trends and the evolution of the space. Looking ahead, guys, in 2025 now, what's the most significant trend or shift that you've seen happening over the past few years? And is there something that maybe you want to share, Sebastien, with your experience with the NFT back into 2021 until today? What can you see is happening?
Well, we see a lot of experimentation and innovation in the space. Like the speed of it is just mind-blowing. Maybe I can ask quickly in the audience, like who's been already in crypto back in 2020 or before? Raise your hand. Oh, wow. Okay, we have a good portion of it. And then anyone else after, I guess. So less than half of the people in the audience are OGs. 2020 was really like the rise of NFTs and blockchain gaming in 2021. Metaverse start to rise as well in 2021. We've seen from there 2022, 23 still NFT, metaverse. We afterward we started to see like meme coins and more like culture moving into like tokens essentially. We've started to see now a rising trend around like real world assets, more DeFi related use case, a growing number of chains and actually more fragmented ecosystem overall into the blockchain space. So anyone who was in 2020, 21, Ethereum was essentially the L1. Nowadays, I would say it's much more fragmented, and that doesn't mean there are less audience. There are like actually more audience, more engaged, more than 300 million users on wallet overall active in crypto, but they are split around different use cases. This year, I think, and specifically since the US has been changing their policies around like digital assets, we're seeing a much increased adoption from institutional side and regulatory side of crypto that's leading to like real assets, DeFi use case, tokenization of pretty much everything from securities to commodities. But on the consumer side, like the traction keeps rising as well, and we're seeing trends from like prediction market, real money gaming, and still like blockchain gaming as a leading use case, since some of us are in the space, and of course on the space of entertainment and culture as well.
What's your take on that?
So I'm going to be really boring and refer to the previous panel about stablecoins, because I think one of the things is obviously everybody's been talking about stablecoins this year, but I think I would say it's less about the excitement around stablecoins, actually more about, for the audience here, because we're all crypto native, it's the fact that stablecoins are actually not exciting anymore. They've been accepted. It's part of the furniture. And that's actually more exciting to me, because we just take for granted their existence. Because at the end of the day, we need to tokenize certain basic things on the road to tokenizing everything else. And the first thing you need to do is tokenize a wallet so that you have a place to put them, and tokenize the money that you put inside. And then once you have that, everything else can start from there. So I think now we've gotten to the point as an industry where we can accept the foundation exists, and now we can all start building on top of that foundation.
Amazing. What about you, Jordi? An interesting trend or shift in the past few years that you want to highlight?
Okay, what I will say is that, I mean, obviously, I mean, crypto, Web3, blockchain has been a revolution, but there is even a bigger revolution. The revolution is what's going on with AI. AI is changing the life of every single individual. And from a sports perspective, what we see is that there is a trend, and the trend is that people is, or let's say, AI will make people to be more focused on entertainment and health, because we have more time to be devoted to sports, especially football and all these things. So this means that sports, I think, we will play a super important revolution in the mass adoption of, let's say, Web3 and blockchain technologies. And in this sense, what has happened to us is that the last 4 or 5 years, many companies have approached us and thinking that we could be a super amazing client for technology. And what I think is that they have realized that it's just the opposite. We could be an amazing provider of contents, data, funds, users, digital experiences, digital products, digital services. And we are seeing this change, and we like this change a lot.
Amazing. What about you, Diego? What inspires you the most these days?
Yeah, I think before my answer, I just want to ask you a question within the audience. Who here knows what is the difference between loyalty or engagement from Web 2 to Web 3? By show of hands, like, do you know what does that mean? Do you know the difference between that? We got here. So like, for me, like in a very simple manner, we're looking at that, right? Like we sitting here and telling you what it is Web 2. But then if you look into Web 3, is like people that raise their hand is like, in one word, what is loyalty for you?
Just following, sticking around and being with the person.
Right, what about you? One word.
Loyalty, engage with my favorite content creators.
Right, what was your one word? No? You? One word.
To be part of the community.
Right, so if you think about it, like we talk a lot about in Web3 about ownership, but it's also about consumers shifting from consuming passively, sitting around and taking what the brand's giving you, to co-creators, right? And you guys know that really, really well when what you do is that you're inviting your customer, your user, so they become a co-creator. So they start adding value to it. So they start building alongside with you, right? So I think that from a fundamental base of how we can kind of like define it, I think that's a really good way to define. Now, when we look into the trends, I think that the world is going from like TV mainstream where everybody had the same culture. So we grew up watching most likely similar cartoons and consuming similar things, regardless of us being from 4 or 5 different countries, right? Now, the new generations, they're basically niching down, right? Everybody has their own small community, their own small bubble, their own kind of like cultural element. So from a culture perspective, that's what's shifting, and that's where brands are starting to play a role, and where new technologies like Web3, AI, immersive web, gaming are shifting and learning and leaning into that direction. So ownership is obviously a big part of it, but I think co-creation is what really going to shift the dial.
Amazing. Thank you, Diego. Yes, if we are diving into the subject a bit more and talk about ownership, loyalty, how do you create loyalty now? You, Sebastien, you have built a whole entire creator economy into virtual worlds. I've seen so many things where you can create, learn, play, and you have very distinct initiatives like the alpha season, for example, that to me felt like it's probably something so exciting that is, driving that interest. How would you describe that you're doing so well?
Exactly. Well, if I put what Diego said in other words, like basically the future of content and the future of like economy in general is around user-generated content, and everyone participating in creating value and engaging with their favorite brand, their favorite content. Mm-hmm. And it's been one of the driving mission of Sandbox. How do we empower anyone to become a content creator or a creator with no-code tools, now with AI and vibe coding? However, like creating content, it's a passion, it's a hobby. It's fantastic that we can break down like the barrier of technology to facilitate that, but it's only the starting point. And then comes many challenges. One of the main challenges we saw since we started Sandbox in mobile in 2011 is like there was not a fair value distribution between like the platform, the games, and the users who are contributing to that content. So the games and the platform still take away most of the revenue, and users who participate in making content, whether it's on Minecraft, on Fortnite, now on Sandbox, back in the day on mobile, they were like just not earning anything else than like fame, social fame, and recognition for their participation. Blockchain has changed that game totally. Back in 2018, and when we started to work on the new version of Sandbox, we adopted blockchain and NFTs to enable content creators to like tokenize all their creation, own it, and be able to sell it, distribute it in the game, but outside, like on marketplaces. And also we launched a Sand token, and we've seen all the rise of like the token-based economy, so that projects could involve their community and share the value with the token holder for their participation, growing the value of the token, distributing that wealth. Still, we've seen limitation, and we're on those models. We've seen that a lot of the interest in the token was essentially driven by speculation instead of like fair participation. People were looking at the use of the technology for like quick scheme into like getting rich rather than building long-term value and engagement based as well on real product and real adoption. And so we saw like the flaws of those systems instead of the real benefit. So what we launched recently, Sandchain, on October 1st, is the next phase of like how we enable like participation and how we enable like supporting the value for the content creator at the core, enabling them, putting in place a system but anyone can contribute, where loyalty has value, where every interaction is on chain. It will contribute to build your reputation, your identity, and content creators will benefit to access to new ways to monetization, to new ways of building loyalty with their audience, while the audience as well benefit from like supporting their favorite content creator. So it becomes more of like a virtuous circle that supports the content creator and the economy behind. And just to give a number, the content creator economy is roughly $250 billion, and it's poised to grow. I think some studies project like it will grow to over $700 billion in the next 5 years. And it's still very much of a Web 2 based economy at the moment. What I mean is like content creator, like they are being paid usually after 30 to 60 days by wire transfers. They don't have access easily to financing. So as a content creator, like your activity, your job is not really recognized. A bank will not give you a loan. It's not really taken seriously as an activity. And so we're trying to change, I wouldn't say change the game, but change the perception that people have and support a future, a digital future and digital economy where like it just blended with like the physical world.
That's amazing. How do you think what do you think is going to help to, it's a learning curve. It sounds like, how do you think we're going to get there, you know?
I was going to say, I think there's a big push, though, because I think content creators are fed up with the take rates from Web 2 platforms. There's the simplest proof that I saw lately is I was doing a little bit of research. I don't know if any of you are familiar with a site called OnlyFans, but OnlyFans is probably the biggest place in the world for content creators to have a direct relationship with their audience on a pay-per-view basis, basically. But OnlyFans is known for adult content. But did you know that more than 30% of OnlyFans creators and revenues and content are not from adult creators? Because the take rate is only 20%. So if you move from Instagram and all these other places to OnlyFans, you get 10% back. And people are not stupid. They want to make more money as creators. So you have personal trainers and chefs and all kinds of people in other content categories now using that infrastructure in spite of the fact it's known for adult content as a brand name, just because they want to make more money and they want to monetize their own stuff more. And so we in the Web3 community have an incredible opportunity because our infrastructure is cheap. We don't need to charge 30% to still make healthy margins. So we can create products built on very, very passionate fan groups that don't need to have audiences like the size of FC Barcelona. It's great if you do, but not everybody does. And so we can build products where you can actually have an audience of thousands or tens of thousands of loyal customers because they spend so much more, because you're not building the whole user acquisition funnel, you're just taking the bottom tip and getting the super fans who are highly engaged, who love your content, or who are happy to pay for it.
Very clear. And Jordi, to you about the experiments with blockchain, tokenized assets, the fans groups. Can you share a little bit about your experiments at FC Barcelona?
Okay, but let me say a comment is about content creators. Don't think that this is about individuals. It's about individuals, but also about brands like FC Barcelona. We are
well, you're a content creator
on
too.
social networks, yeah, and you know we have more than 500 million fans register in, let's say, in channels in Facebook, in Instagram, etc. And we create the content, and the user and the content creators us, we see nothing. Yeah. Okay. So then about our, let's say, adventures in blockchain Web3. So to give a context, FC Barcelona is a non-profit organization and is basically about scoring goals. That's the main, let's say, thing that we have to do. But we have also subsidiaries for profit companies. One of them is called Barca Licensing and Merchandising, that has to do with physical assets, jerseys, stores, etc. And there is another one, that's Barca Vision, that has to do with creating digital experiences, market them using emerging technologies. And this means AI, blockchain, extended reality. Why this? Which is our hypothesis? Is that we have hundreds of millions of fans worldwide, in Asia, in Africa, in South America, and the only product that we only, let's say, offer them, let's say B2C, is come to the stadium and buy a ticket, they will not come, or buy a jersey. So we have many people engaged, and there is no product for them. And The only way to go there and come with something is if this product is digital. So we love blockchain, especially in terms of ownership and traceability, okay? But in our case, I don't want to say we hate, but we don't like speculation. We don't play to this game because we're a club of 125 years of history, and we want to be there, if it's possible, forever. Yeah. And so we have to start creating things. We did, for instance, our first NFT that it was auctioned in Sotheby's, New York, in the 2022, and something that we are very proud of. That's typical from our club is that it's not only about, let's say, doing things right. There are artistic drivers in whatever we do. For instance, in the way we play, but also in the things we do. And that NFT that has to do with Johan Cruyff has been exhibited in contemporary museums together with Andy Warhol, Banksy, Haring, Kusama. We are super proud of these things. And then we have done many things, other, let's say, NFTs, digital collectibles, our first digital album on a platform called Collectible. We have created our, let's say, Discord channel to promote, engage people, and now I would say that is the biggest or largest Discord channel from a club in the world, and we are excited with these things. But let me go to the very beginning. Probably you know the club because we have had many famous players from, let's say, from Johan Cruyff, Maradona, Messi, etc. But the club is not this. The club is 5 professional sports, men and women, and also 8 amateur sports. Probably we are the biggest club in the world, and what we think in everything that we do is that it's not about football and male. It's about everything and women. Yeah? So, for instance, our second, let's say, masterpiece wasn't about Maradona. It was about Alexia Putellas, the best women player by far in the world 2 years in a row. So I think there should be purpose and message and utility and experiences, and they should be nice, not related to speculation with whatever we do. And I think the best utility that we could provide to something is gamification. Gamification, and these guys know a lot, and this is what we want to do.
Gamification. Okay, amazing. I think we didn't hear captured everything so well because of your mic, but I think we got the general idea. Thank you, Diego. I'm going to switch gears a little bit and ask you how you are working with brands and businesses when it comes to loyalty, community. Do you have key principles that you share with them when implementing new strategies?
Yeah, it's really interesting, right? Because talking obviously about Barcelona, and I have like let's say a 3-step framework that I always talk about, right? The first thing is about your position. So as a brand, you want to position yourself almost like in a new category, right? So how can I create something that's extremely unique, that nobody can own, nobody can claim, nobody can steal, and how I make people engage with it, right? So back on my Adidas day, worked for 4 years in the headquarters in Germany. During COVID, we had like just this ginormous challenge, which was nobody's doing sports because everybody's locked at home. Nobody's buying anything because why would you buy sports clothing if you cannot get out of the house? Nobody's buying, streetwear because if you cannot go out of the house, why should I buy $200 shoes? So the positioning we took there, which was really interesting in one of the activations that we did, which was the biggest ever for Adidas, was a home team. So what we've done is Adidas has 2,500 partners, players, creators, musicians, and during that period of time, the positioning was clear. Adidas' main idea is how sports can change and shape people's life, right? That's what the brand lives and thrives. So in a moment like everybody's at home, that was never more important. So what we done within that position was we went out and we got all those 2,500 players, people from our roster, and everybody was creating content. So you could go and have a call with Messi and he would teach you something. Or you could get and see how they are training at home, because as soon as COVID is over, they're going to need to compete. So how they're keeping in shape. So we went out and we did the biggest ever social activation with Adidas under that term, right? Our mission as a company is to change people through sports, and now that they need the most, how do we do that? We leveraged that roster and brought everybody together, and that had a huge spike within the company, right? So how you create that ocean that nobody could steal at that moment, nobody could go there and do the same, and nobody did. And then once that was really successful and COVID was over, we were looking from inside of the organization, how can we tap into Web3, right? NFTs was really hot in 2020 and beginning of 2021. And then another way, right? So how do we shape a specific spot within that culture that we can position ourselves and take over, right? And we did that with Into the Metaverse back in 2021. We did an NFT collection with Yuga Labs and other partners. We partnered with Sandbox back in the day as well. And we made 24 million in 24 hours for the brand, which was unheard of selling digital assets. And that spiked that whole bull run of every single brand coming after and doing it, right? So all of that had to do with the position and how you bring the people, the fans, your partners together to create something new, right? And then the second part of that framework is the big idea. How do you translate that in a simple manner that anyone can get behind and it becomes really exciting, right? Because of the way the world is moving forward through social media and gaming and now AI accelerating, AI is up like crazy. Nobody has more time to be consuming your adverts, right? Nobody's sitting on TV or looking at billboards. So the role of branding and advertising has changed dramatically, and now it's all about entertainment, right? So how do you entertain people to get real estate inside of their brain, live there rent-free, and then whenever they are ready to buy from you, they're going to remember you, right? I play obviously a lot with the pink beanie, and a lot of people ask me, why do I wear it? And the motive why I wear it is because every single time you see a pink beanie, regardless of where you are in the planet, you're going to remind me, right? You're going to remind about me and what I stand for. And I own now a piece of real estate inside of your brain, and I live there for free. And that's the whole strategy. And that's what brands do, right?
Although in fairness, I just picture a dog with a hat, to be honest.
Depends where you are, right? So that's a lot to do with this element of the big idea and how you execute and the consistency behind it, right? And then the third element, which is obviously commerciality and commercial and selling and moving numbers that we all love, and that's what brand is also for, is that you have this rule that we call in branding, which is the 5 and 95, right? So we're living in a world now of performance marketing. Everything is performance marketing. Throw a shit ton of money on Meta, whatever, and now it's AI search, and that's all what matters. Drive the numbers, ROI, the economy is collapsing, AI is going to take over our jobs, everybody's going to die, right? That's the mentality on the mainstream right now, which is crazy. So everybody's putting all the money on that 5% audience. Those people know you exist, they've engaged with you, you're going to put ads in front of them, and that's how you're going to convert. At a certain point, you're going to run out either of budget or you're going to run out of an audience. There is no more people that want to buy from us because you took over the market, and then what do? Right? And that's where the branding element of it comes in, which is the 95%, which is the positioning, the big idea, and buying piece of real estate on people's mind, because whenever they become ready to buy, guess who they're going to buy from? So that's usually the way I talk to those brands and help them, especially tech founders, tech heads, that think that, the mainstream still don't get decentralization. The mainstream still don't get zero knowledge proof-based algorithms. The mainstream still don't get why we have bridging in DeFi. It's not they don't get it, it's that they don't give a fuck. And they never will, right? And the reality is how we translate that in meaning to them rather than and how we dumb down the content or the message. They're not interested in zero knowledge proof-based technology, but they might be interesting on someone stealing their private data and credit card and knowing more of things about what they actually want to share. So it's a lot of that element on how you shift the conversation and how you translate features and benefits into meaning in people's life.
Absolutely. Robby, do you have anything to add to this?
Sure. I was going to say, first, absolutely right. And I think that this points to, the strength of something you said earlier on, which is about co-creation, because co-creation is actually just getting your customers to get themselves more invested in the success and the outcome of your brand or your experience. Part of that can be owning a share of the network by owning a token, and part of that can be actually putting work in at the same time and becoming an active community member, maybe being rewarded for it because you're able to participate in the economy of it. And I think that's the exciting thing about the Web3 tools that we have available to us, because actually it's up to us as business owners to design our products to make use of all those resources and tools, because actually there's an infinite sort of variation of ways in which we can implement these strategies. But I think the one thing is clear: we have to provide a lot more value to our customers, and we need to provide a lot more value to the brands and marketers and IP who are seeking to connect with those customers, because they haven't gotten a lot of value in the past and have been paying a very high fee to the middlemen for that privilege.
If I can jump in what you're saying as well, like it's good that you were comparing like how culture was shaped before. Culture was shaped through radio, through newspaper, through TV nowadays. Culture is very niche, but it's also shaped through gaming, and it's shaped from the community you engage with. So brand have to think about like how do I not just about like how do I sell and I convert a customer, an audience into a customer, but more like how do I shape my presence in their culture on the long term, and I be relevant, I touch them within the media that they're actually consuming. And what media are they consuming? On one side, yes, social media, but now more and more like gaming. Like gaming is basically the mainstream media that's capturing more attention than Netflix, YouTube, and social media combined. And why is that? Because the attention time of user is usually in the range of like tens of minutes or up to hours versus like the few seconds that like the culture of like fast scrolling and fast swiping and changing as a customer's tool as well. And so it's a great thing, and maybe something for a conclusion, that it's taking us to like gaming, because gaming is still one of the most creative industries. It's most of the challenging on the business side to succeed and make something lasting, but also like it's one of the industry which is constantly, because of the high failure rate, thinking like how we're going to engage and make things fun. And making things fun make actually people want to spend time, spend money into it, and keep talking about it. So that's, for me, so important.
That's great. Let's shift quickly into the future. We have a few more minutes and talk about maybe the next 5 years. Jordi, what's your vision for the next 5 years?
Okay, from our point of view, we as a club, so for instance, we have an e-commerce that has more than 20 million visitors every single year, that is selling jerseys, for instance, worldwide. So we like to have, let's say, crypto payments. But I think it was Robby who stated at the beginning, we see stable coins as the way to do it, at least in our case. Because, as we said, we don't want to play with speculation. We don't want to play with things that could damage our reputation. But we want to be there because technology is super interesting. So offering the possibility to our fans worldwide to have the chance to buy things with crypto, in this case stable coins, is something that's going to happen. And I think that this is going to be a mass, let's say, onboarding of people in the crypto world in a super seamless way. And I think it's not only us doing that. Many other brands will do it. And,
Right.
Just one comment. The comment is the following: is that because it's something that inspired me from what Sebastien said. For instance, we have 5 times more fans in Indonesia than in Spain. Okay, so, and we very often don't realize this. So this means that we have to use all these digital tools, and particularly AI, to approach people in their language with their local, let's say, the local things that they like. And so being globally doesn't mean offering the same to everyone. And this is super important.
That's great. Thank you. Very quickly, Diego, next 5 years, in one word? Yes, because then I would like
Bitcoin to
to
the
ask
moon.
Sebastien and Robby.
It's a hard one. Well, yeah, briefly, I think we're going to see a lot of maturity within the industry. I tend to say there's three elements within the industry. There's the cyberpunks, there's the degens, and there's the now coming institutions, the mainstream. And I think we started the cyberpunks, the degens brought us to build all the ecosystem and stress test it. And now we get into the stage of the institutions. Look at this conference, right? I've never seen so many bankers in one place. It's wild. So I'm also excited for that, right? So I think that's what we're going to keep going. I think slowly but surely, we're going to keep going through that maturity period. I think we are on the puberty right now of our industry. you know, there's like 15, 16 years old trying to figure out who we actually are. But I think we're going to keep going and moving forward towards that direction.
Yes, definitely. Sebastien?
Well, I think like the future is like essentially everything is tokenized, and we don't even know how to care about it. Like the whole digital economy and physical world economy are totally blended. Content creators make a living, can subsist and live economically from their passion, and it's all based on the blockchain behind. You know, our bank are accepting any kind of token, not just stable. I'm actually a big fan of like having communities have their own token, having creators have their own points on chain, have their own tokens, and it can work within their small community of 1,000 or 10,000 of fans. It doesn't mean to be accepted or only available to millions to succeed. And yes, that's for me like
That would be brilliant.
the big goal.
Yes, absolutely. Robby, your vision for the future?
I think we just need to keep doing more of the same, honestly. You know, I've been to this event now 5 years in a row, and it just keeps getting better, and it's because of everybody who attends and all the projects that you're creating, etc. So I think we just keep sticking to it, and I think that we've seen the results already.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing your insights, experience, and wisdom. Thank you, everyone, and enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you, everyone.